just gonna be the basics of how to wrap and fletch arrows with feathers with a Bitzenburger jig. I've only done this a few times, so I'm not a professional, but I just want to show you how I do it and the way it works for me. So let's get into it. Well, first things first, the things you're gonna need for this is obviously your arrow shafts. I took these off of some flu arrows I had bought cheap off Amazon. They were like, I don't know, 12 for like 30 bucks. So these arrows are not by any means top quality. They're kind of trash, but anyway, you're gonna need your arrows. You're going to need some sort of fletchings. I bought these off Amazon too, just for this reason. They're just cheap left wing feathers, feather fletchings. Yeah. And then next, I like to wrap my arrows, so just get some arrow wrap. I got mine in white, so it matches the fletchings. And the most important piece for actually fletching your arrows is this jig. Now, there's many other jigs out there, but this is the only one. This is the only one I've ever used, and it works great. It's the Bitzenburger jig, and it's not really cheap, but I think it'll last me forever. So I think it was worth the purchase, and it works really great for me. So there's that. And the first thing I do with my shafts is after I strip the fletchings, I got some alcohol and I cleaned the shaft up and down just to make sure there's not too much dust and debris, and I'll do that again before I wrap the arrows. But yeah, the first step in this process is to wrap your arrows, so let's get into that. Well, when when wrapping your arrows before you fletch them, it is very important to find a flat surface, flat even surface, so that you can pretty much just roll the shaft and it just glides and there's no bumps or anything like that. So I have this desk and it'll work great, but you unstick your wrap from the little wrap tape thing, then you leave the sticky side up, you lay that flat, and what I do is I just make sure every corner, every edge is lined up perfectly with the wrap. Down here on the end, you can see it's lined up perfectly with the shaft. And when you start to roll onto the wrap, everything is lined up perfectly with the right amount of spacing. And then you just start the roll. Keep it nice and steady and even. Just roll it forward. And I do a little back and forth to get that on there. As you can see, the wrap's on there. No bubbles or anything. It's on there perfectly fine. Alright, let's move on to the next ones. Well, got all of them finished. So now, let's get to fletching the arrows. Well, now that I have my arrows wrapped and finished, I'm going to show you how to use the Bitzenburger jig. On the bottom of this jig, there's 3 bolts, or 3 little screws, and the one that you screw in is the setting that you would like. So there's a 120-degree setting, and that is for 3 fletch. There is a 90-degree setting, which is a 4 fletch, and then there is a 75 by 105, and I'm pretty sure that's a 5 fletch. I've personally never used it. But basically each turn is the degree that you have screwed in. So right now I have it screwed in for 120 degrees, so each turn I make with this right here goes 120 degrees perfectly each time. So basically each turn it'll go 120 degrees, which allows this setting for a 3 fletch arrow setup. Now if I was to loosen this bolt and then screw in the 90-degree setting, it would allow for 90-degree turns, which in turn allows the arrow to be set to a 4 fletch setting. But this jig allows for 3 different settings, which is very nice to have, so you can kind of choose what you want to do for your arrows instead of just having like one set for a 3 fletch. Alright, so now let's get into actually fletching these arrows. Right now I'm keeping mine set at 120 degrees, which is a 3 fletch, because that's what I want to set these arrows to. It is also important to take out your fletchings of choice. I have these cheap Amazon fletchings. And on this jig right here, there is these lines, and I like to use the 3rd line up when fletching my arrows. It's personally what I like to do. So you clamp in the feather or the fletching, you push it in, and as you can see, there's these slight little dashes. I like to push mine up to the 3rd dash. Just get it perfectly lined. Make sure it's the same every single time, or else they'll be off. And as you can see, if it'll focus, it is set to the 3rd dash. And that's what I do every time when fletching these arrows. I always use the 3rd dash. That's my favorite. Alright, well, next thing you're going to have to do when fletching these is put in a knock, because that's how this system operates, is with a knock. In here, there's a groove that you set your knock into. And literally all you do, set your knock into that groove, and it'll fit in perfectly. And let your arrow sit right here. It's important to do a dry run when I'm doing this, so just make sure you're set up correctly to what you prefer. And then just insert it like you're going to apply the fletching. So you just sit it in there, and you just want to make sure that this thing is firm in there, and mine is. And if needed, if it's not firm and it's not set correctly, you adjust these knobs until this jig is not really moving and it's kind of set in stone. So mine's set and mine's good to go. So let's go ahead and get into actually applying these to the arrows. For the gluing process, I use a AAE Max Bond vein adhesive, and that works great for me. But yeah, you're gonna need some kind of heavy duty glue in order to keep your veins intact. So for this process of gluing, a lot goes a long way. So if you use too much, it's going to be harder when applying, but you don't want to use too little where it's, not obviously sticking. But you just want to apply like an even light coat along the spine right here, because if you use too much, it's going to be harder to apply. So what I do is just start a slight drop, and I just kind of let that glide across. Not too much, not too much. And then from here, all you do is let the jig do the work. You just apply, and then you hold that for about 30 seconds. And there you have it. Again, you're going to set the feather fletching into the jig just as before. Again, I like mine set at the level 3. Might take a second to get it in there. I like mine set at level 3. Right there. And again, you apply a light but even coat of glue. before you go to the next, just make sure to turn that knob. And then just put it in there exactly like you did before. Just let the jig do the work. Hold it on there for about 30 seconds. Again, do a turn and follow the same process. Put on the third notch. Apply the glue. Put in the jig. It's as easy as that. First arrow down. Another thing that I like to do that I've seen other people do is you put a dab of glue, not too much, just a dab of glue at the front and back of each fletching, just to make sure that it's kind of locked in there. Just a dab. And that's it. You're done. Perfect fletch every time. Alright, well I'm going to move on to the rest of the arrows, and that'll be it. Well, I got all my arrows fletched up and ready to go. It went pretty smooth. Not too much problem with that. I love this little jig. It's pretty nice. I'll leave a link below for the jig itself. But yeah, I'm gonna go outside and shoot these to make sure they fly good and everything. So, see you outside. Well, these are my fletched up arrows. Some snow's on the ground. It snowed the other day, and I'm off from school today. Yes, I'm in shorts. Yes, it's cold, but I'm just gonna shoot a group of these arrows and see how they fly. Alright. This is the Sandlita Hermit X8. I did a review on it the other day. I love this bow. It's only pulling like 30 pounds. But I love this bow. Go and watch that video if you can. Did a full review on it. Things are flying pretty good. Alright, well, that was me shooting them arrows. Seem to be flying pretty good. I'm by no means a pro at fletching arrows or anything like that, but I hope this video just kind of helped y'all get a better understanding on maybe using that Bitzenburger jig, or just kind of getting the concept of fletching arrows down so you can do them yourself. Because honestly, I feel like it's worth it, and it's you can save money by doing it. Like, it might be a pretty penny to purchase that Bitzenburger jig at the time, but over time you'll save money so that you can fletch them yourself without having to pay somebody else to fletch your arrows. And it's not really that hard. It's kind of just simple. But I really think it's a good thing to do, is fletch your own arrows. So I hope this video helped y'all in maybe making that purchase on buying the Bitzenburger jig, or just finding another method to fletch your own arrows for hunting or target or whatever. Anyways, hope y'all are having a good day, good week. Hope y'all seasons went good. Y'all stay safe out there and hunt traditional.